Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of ILLflips. I'm joined by Brian from ILLstrips. Just going to do a bit of a debrief today on what I picked up during my time at Angoulême 2024. It was always a bit of a holy grail trip for, if you're a comic enthusiast. The whole town just turns into one big comic book festival. So it was pretty cool to see that unravel. I went over with Phelp, who's a cartoonist from England. And we had one night in Paris before heading on the train the next day to Angoulême, and we had one night on the way back. So that was nice also. Got to check out some stores in Paris and also got a chance to see the Claes exhibition in Galerie Martel. So without further ado, I will just start going through some of the stuff. I might start with, I'll do it chronologically. So we went to the Claes exhibition first. So let's check that out. And this book came, well, you had to buy it. It was like €24 or something. But it was accompanying the show. So it was basically a bunch of Dan Claes's process work, like his color pencil sketches that he does when figuring out his pages or his covers. Quite a lot of detail, quite worked up, and in an interesting style. With probably, I don't know, maybe a little bit more energy in some of them than the final work. So it's always interesting to see a very thoughtful cartoonist like Dan Claes putting all this stuff down on the page before doing a finished page. Let's get to some of these. So there's a bit of text body at the front, also in English too, so that's nice. Some of his New Yorker covers. As you can see, he really works everything out pretty thoroughly, making sure all the colors correspond with each other and the composition is nice. I think he had been there the previous night and he was meant to give a talk at Angoulême, but I think he became sick. He might have contracted COVID during his time there, so he never made it to the show, so he didn't get to do his talk, which was too bad, but I mean, it was cool to get a hand on this anyway. These Death Ray images were pretty nice. I liked these. Some of the 8-ball covers. And his stuff is really nice in color pencil. I mean, you could read a whole comic in that style. It's pretty cool. One of his classics. Getting those cool Ghost World blues. And this is a nice little book. It's got a perfect bound, matte printed. And they seem to do, Galerie Martel seem to do these quite often, with a whole array of different cartoonists. So there was one with Jose Munoz, and there was Chris Ware, and there was also an Art Spiegelman one, and even a Gary Panter one. But I just got this. These are great. And I think these are still available to pick up online if you're interested. And of course, the reason he was attending Angoulême was really the whole hype around Monica at the moment, and I think he was nominated for the Grand Prix, and this Monica graphic novel also won Best Graphic Novel of the Year, which seems pretty well deserved. Here's a list of some of the drawings on the side, and then there's also a bit of a biography on them. Some of his bibliography, filmography. And so that was nice. I was happy to pick that up. We did a little bit of shopping before getting the train. The next morning we went to a Pum and some of the other comic book stores around Rue Dante and the Latin Quarter. There was Album. I think we just went to Album and a Pum. Some of them weren't open yet. French don't really roll out of bed to open the stores probably till about 11 o'clock midday sometimes. This is epoxy. I was on the hunt over the course of the trip for a book called Saga des Âmes, which is one of Eric Losfeld's publications. It's kind of a rare book, very low print run, but there's a reprint that's came out in 2022, which I will do a video on. And managed to find the reprint when returning to Paris, but never found the original. But one of his other publications, this is a reprint also, but epoxy. It's like a black and white, kind of erotic Greek myth type scenario. Really beautiful art, great figure drawing, and it's kind of got a weird sci-fi element to it also. I wouldn't mind trying to build up a collection of all the original Eric Losfeld's publications, but they can be pricey. He's the guy who also did Pravda and Jodel, as well as Barbarella, and quite a few more. I think there's maybe 12 or 16 of them. Won't linger. There's a lot of nudity in this, so I won't linger too much. I'll get another warning from YouTube. So I'll just give it a quick flip through. But it's pretty cool. There's a lot of, you know, got your Cerberus there. There's a lot of mythological Greek creatures, centaurs, giant bulls, dudes flying around on wings. This is kind of a weird cyclops, but with multiple eyes. But what stood out to me is just the figure drawing is excellent. Just all the anatomy. Check out these knees, these feet. The various poses are just really well considered. Here's Medusa. So yeah, just nice drawing on display. Some centaurs, fawns, nymphs, all that good stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, why not? Then we got to the show, we arrived, what time did we arrive? Probably around 2 o'clock or something, and we went straight into it. The woman that we were staying with picked us up and dropped us to the show. And so there's a couple of different halls. There's Monde de Boule, which is like the main hall where all of the big publications are, like Dargo and Casterman. And then there's there's a smaller hall, probably actually equal in size, but different for more self-published and smaller publishing houses, which was also great. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. And then there was another hall with mostly second-hand work and original art. So the second-hand stalls are always exciting to have a look through because you never know what you might dig up. So I found this Barbarella. It's a Barbarella in color, which is different to the original. It's a different story, but it's interesting to see Jean-Claude Forest in full color. I'll show you the original Barbarella. And this version has just a single color treatment per chapter. If you see what I mean. So I like this. It's a little bit more psychedelic looking, maybe. A little bit more in the vein of Pravda or Jodel by Guy Pilart. But great art. I always like how Jean-Claude Forest draws the female face. It's great at like eyelashes and just big heavy lids. And just interesting subject matter with these. And they seem to wind up back in Paris at the end of this. Whatever is going on here. Which is interesting. So here we go. We got the Eiffel Tower. Just really cool hot colors. Quite inspiring. And then this is an interesting kind of fade out at the end. This is cool. This like fish tank underneath the Eiffel Tower. So I was happy to find that. That was a nice book. A little bit of Dick Tracy, French Dick Tracy, by Chester Gould. I think these are from, this was saying that they're from 1937. Okay, yeah, published in 1978, and this is Dick Tracy from the 30s, the late 30s. All in French, but interesting book, and it was like €10 or something. So why not? Always nice to check out a little bit of Dick Tracy. And it's a nice show. I mean, I went just to hang out, basically. Did a little bit of tabling on the last day with Crow funding, but other than that, me and Adam just kind of passed around the different halls, caught up with a few people, had a couple of beers. Then people kind of hang out in the evening, drink beers, eat some food. So it was it was a good experience. And then this is from the Mobius production table. This is a nice edition of the majors, like the hermetic, the garage hermetique, airtight garage stuff, which I hadn't seen before. Like, I mean, I have the original airtight garage, but a lot of the work in here is new to me. And I like his airtight garage stuff a lot. It's just amazing line work and full of detail and interesting vehicles, characters, costumes, aliens. And you can learn a lot about drawing from, I think, observing this particular stuff when Mobius is in black and white. It's easier to deconstruct his style. Yeah. This scaly dude. Quite close-up shots also. And then you have your big backgrounds also. A lot of depth. This is great. So this is their most recent publication. No, they did an Arzak book that came out. This is the one that came out before that. But I'll kind of pick up anything that they put out. It's always nice production and just obviously great subject matter. And it's fairly affordable too. I think this is like €24 or something. And the Arzak book was 45, which is a big book, which I showed off in a previous video. Just such cool ideas on every different page. And I mean, you'll recognize some of this stuff, but a lot of it was new to me. Nice book. Cool cover. There was a Mosquito publication table, and I bought a Sergio Toia book from them. They had quite a lot of his work, as well as Hugo Pratt's work and various other artists. But Sergio Toia, I don't have a lot of his work, and whenever I see it, I'm always blown away by it. So I thought it would be worth picking up this volume, and it kind of had the most interesting stuff from my point of view. Just a crazy style, like very unique. A lot of hatching, but just in his own kind of bizarre way. But it all builds and comes together. Amazing layouts from page to page. Very good at like distorting the figure, but still keeping it in reality. This, I think the reason I bought this one was for all these giant lizards that he has crawling throughout these pages. It's kind of a strange Godzilla. Like these are great. All his drawings of animals are always spot on. This guy almost looks like a Tintin bad guy. He's got this Godzilla character here. Very surreal, kind of dreamlike. And as I said, there was quite a few different, some dinosaurs, quite a few different books of his available. So if you are interested in his work, a lot of it has been reprinted or republished recently. Just so much texture. Love the way he builds up various motifs and just hair and patterns. Amazing drawing. Very good at like organic matter and animals, nature, bark, rocks. He really sells it all. Check out these really old faces also. Ancient kind of looking drawing. So this is a really great book actually. Happy to pick that up. The next thing I found was this Algerian comic. It's in French, but it was just at a table, kind of stood out to me. I didn't know the table, but I just picked it up. And I just bought the Topi book, and the style reminded me quite a lot of Topi. I think the artist, I'm not sure who the writer-artist team is here, but maybe Soumeya Urazeki, probably butchering that name, or Mahmoud Benamar. Anyway, they've made a really nice book. And maybe you can see what I mean by the Topi influence, possibly. Interesting perspectives, like that's great, the rat with the God's eye view. Kind of reminds me of Teru Matsumoto's work also. It's got this very exaggerated and distorted figures throughout. And just an interesting setting also. I guess it's set in Algeria. And maybe it's got a little bit of Algerian folklore built into it. I'm not really sure. Could be a good one to read with the Google Translate. I like this character design too. It's this old Baba Yaga looking lady on the front. And just nice cartooning. And it's always cool to find comics from all over the world, so I don't have any Algerian comics. So that was a nice find. I'll go through these quickly enough. This is, because I get warnings on these things these days. This is Planet Devol. We went to this like little, and it's by Hugues Mikkel, who actually found quite a bit of his work at the show. But they kind of had this series of erotic comics in this one expo place. This was number 2. I think there was maybe 24 of them or something. But this one stood out to me the most. It's just Hugues Mikkel doing erotic comics, and it's all in this kind of off black, printed, like almost a brown. And yeah. But it's a cool size, cool book. I like the cover. I like his work a lot. Another one, Ramba, from another erotic table. Let's see if I can show you any of the pages. It's Ramba. She's motorcycle badass. Most pages are covered with some sort of erotic filth, so I won't linger too much, but pretty cool book. And this was also in a series of, not all Ramba, but just different artists doing this. Fumetti X. So this is number 3. This was a cool find. This is by Enrique Brasa, who's Alberto Brescia's son. Alberto Brescia did Paramus and Mort Cinder, and I think he did a Dracula book, so he's got several different, he's an Argentinian cartoonist. But this is his son, and working in full color, which Alberto Brescia, I usually saw his stuff in black and white. Amazing at just drawing faces that are very realistic, but also quite cartoony in their own way. And his son has obviously inherited that trait. And basically, for me, I think like every little panel basically seems like it could be put on a wall as a painting. If you look closely at each one, they're really rich in color and life, and just so vibrant, and perfectly suited to this sort of Aztec conquistador setting. The way he captures light in his watercolors is pretty sublime. These dogs are great. The shimmer from all this gold works really well. And it's quite graphic and gory also, as was the time. And then he's got this kind of Quetzalcoatl bird flying through the sky, signifying different prophecies perhaps. But yeah, I picked it up and really enjoyed looking at it. So I mean, all these books, they weren't that expensive. I think this was like €12 or something, €15 maybe. The crocodile eye is great. Brilliant faces too of these Aztec type people, or Mayans, whoever they are. Beautiful watercolors though. And no holding line on any of this, it's all just straight color, which is even more impressive because it all pops really well. Some really great stuff. Yeah, you could look at this book for hours actually. And sorry, to give the name of this, D'un Rive à l'autre, La Découverte du Pacifique. My French is not great. Then we went back to Paris after the show on the Monday, and we went straight back to the Latin Quarter where we dug up some more stuff. I found that reprint of Saga des Âmes, but I had actually already ordered it from a Belgian store, so I didn't buy it. Adam picked a copy up though, so that was nice. Video coming on that. And so anyway, I sometimes collect these Menswell Charlie issues. The deal with these, the front cover is usually just a panel blown up from the inside, and it's kind of just a bunch of cartoonists highlighted from all over Europe during the 60s and 70s. Andy Capp from the UK. Then, I mean, the Valentina stuff by Cray Pack is always a highlight. Cray Pack's doing Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four. This is pretty cool. Trying to see if we can find that front cover. I love Cray Pack, I mean, I just think his work is so impressive, and probably maybe not enough people know about him. There's the back cover anyway, which is debatably better. I think a little bit of Pravda showing up. Interesting to see his take on the character. Didn't see the front cover. Let me have a little look again. There. So yeah, they take a panel from the inside, blow it up, and give it a minimalist color treatment, which is pretty cool. What else? And then there's usually a couple of color pages in the middle, maybe 16 or so. Yeah, I mean, as I probably mentioned in a previous video, the name of the magazine comes from Charlie Brown, Peanuts, and its predecessor was Linus in Italy. And there's usually a bit of Jose Munoz and Sampaio, Alex Sinner stuff in these. So it just depends, but they're always worth picking up, I think. Even just for the covers alone. Some great George Pickard covers too. So that's that. And last but not least, got this Annie Gottsinger album, Castor. I picked up one of her books also in A Poem by Poem years ago. And I was just really impressed by her panel layouts. They're kind of this Art Deco vibe. Just really interesting layouts. Every page has pretty much a different structure to it. Really great drawing, nice color work. Quite inspiring, I suppose. A little bit like George Pickard with some of these panels. They're a bit like the Paulettes. Just really visually interesting. And I think she's doing her own color here too, which looks like sort of maybe a dye or watercolor. And just really captures France at a certain moment, I suppose. Really feels very French, the whole thing. Really nice. So that's that really. What else do I have here? Oh, I have some of Adam's work I'll show you that he kindly passed on to me. This is his new Electric Chair, which is his Kickstarter comic, and this is issue 2. It's quite inspired by the Undergrounds. A lot of S. Clay Wilson in there. Just really visually interesting also. Vibrant colors, just crazy shit going on each page. So track down his work at Adam Phelp. And then he's got this Graphic Gospels with Tony Esmond also. It's kind of like little chick tracks type setup. And then he's doing these little underground zines, which are pretty cool. And it's just panels, covers, whatever he's decided to pick out from reading underground comics. And there's some interesting imagery throughout these. I think he's doing one of these a month. Maybe the plan of finding a bigger zine towards the end of the year, which is quite a nice idea. Pretty cool. Oh, and I found this one little MF Doom comic in the self-publishing hall of Angoulême. If I see an MF Doom comic, I'm going to pick it up. And this was pretty interesting looking, so I was happy to just grab this. I think it was like €3 or something. So there you have it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that debrief video from Angoulême. If you'd like to see more videos, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and you can check out my comics at ILLflips.com. Thanks.